Stay all day.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all of this together to a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is why your productivity sucks, why you are not as productive as you could or should be, and what the hell we're going to do about it. We're going to deal with all of that here today. Now, before I get into that, let me tell everyone, I have a daily motivation text message that I send out every single day. I would like you to be on my list to receive it. So all you have to do to concur that you agree with me that you should be on that list is to text me at the following number, 305-384-6894, and you will be on my text list. Every day you'll get that text message free of charge, guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point throughout the upcoming day. So that number is down below again in the show notes if you forgot it already. Text me to get that daily motivation text. Let's talk about productivity. Now, this is something that productivity is usually one of the number one things that people tell me is their challenge. When I ask someone, what's your biggest challenge right now? What are you working on right now? What are the reasons why you want to have a conversation with me? What is it that drew you to me? What is it that led you to ordering one of my books? People say something along the lines of, I want to get more done, or I was getting stuff done in the past, but I've fallen off the wagon, or I feel like I'm not getting enough done, or I see I don't have that much time, but I want to get these certain things done, or I'm getting things done, but I'm just not doing it I'm not as sharp and as focused as I could be. I'm not as consistent as I could be. I don't feel as motivated or activated to get things done as I have been in the past, or as I think I could or should be, is something around this whole concept of productivity. Now, I will tell you up front that when someone says productivity is their challenge, usually that's not true. Productivity is usually a symptom of a larger issue, a deeper issue that often we are not even aware of, but we think productivity is a problem because we look at ourselves and we say, okay, I wanted to make 10 phone calls today, but I only made 5. I'm not being productive enough. Or they say, well, if I had more energy, I would have made 10 phone calls, but I only made 5. I need to be more motivated. Or I did 10 phone calls on Monday and Tuesday, but I only did 5 on Wednesday, 3 on Thursday, and 6 on Friday. I'm not consistent. So usually people are pointing out their lack of productivity as the issue because that's the thing that you can see on the surface, but often it goes deeper than that. And what we're going to do here today is I'm going to point out some of those deeper challenges that are actually causing your lack of productivity. Productivity is just a symptom of a bigger issue. I'm going to point out what those bigger issues could possibly be for you. And if you hear something that sounds like you, then I will tell you at the end of this episode what your next steps are and what you can do to start addressing this. Because if you only address the symptoms, the challenge is the symptoms are just going to keep coming back because you haven't addressed the underlying root cause of the situation. But the good news is you're in the right place. You are listening to the right show with the right host, and you are the right individual because you are here listening to this. You could have listened to anything right now, but you're listening to this. So all of us are in the right place right now, and this is exactly the right time. So make sure you pull out something to take notes with, pen and a pad, or a new document on your phone or device, because I'm going to give you some stuff that will help you really look introspectively at yourself and what you're doing or not doing, and so we can find out what's really going on. Point number 1. Today's topic, once again, is why your productivity sucks. Number 1, you are forcing yourself to do things that you are not interested in and or do not want to do. Let me repeat that first point, because this is often one of the biggest causes of a person's lack of productivity, again, relative to what you expect to be doing. You are forcing yourself to do things that you are not interested in doing, or you simply don't want to do, period. You just don't want to be doing it, but you're trying to force yourself to do it. So you're not being productive. This is the person who doesn't really like posting on social media all the time, but they have come to believe that posting on social media is the thing they need to do to get more traffic to their landing pages so they can sell more of their stuff, their courses or their programs or whatever it is they're offering. So they keep making themselves post on social media even though they don't like to do it, but then they're not doing it that much because they don't really like it, and they're not being productive enough because they're not doing it as often as they said they would or as often as they see somebody else doing it. So then they come to me and they say, well, Dre, I'm not being productive because I'm not posting on social media often enough, when you don't even like posting on social media. So of course you're not posting it often enough. You don't even like doing it. Productivity is similar in this sense to discipline. When you are forcing yourself to do it, yes, it can work in the short term. The problem is, it's not going to work in the long term. Any of you who's ever had a challenge with discipline? If you read my book, The Third Day, we should have handled that challenge if you actually read the book and implemented what I gave you in that book. But many people, one of the reasons that I wrote The Third Day is I know many people in my audience have this challenge of being more disciplined, especially people who have followed me over the years. You see, I put out shows every day, and I'm pretty consistent in the way that I live my life, even though most of you have not, you don't live with me, but you see the stuff that I post. I'm not faking it. I really do get up every morning and work out and do this stuff consistently. So people will come to me and say, well, how can I be more disciplined? How can I be more consistent? And one of the ways that people try and fail, this always fails, by the way. It can work in the short term. In the long term, this always fails. For discipline is forcing yourself to be more disciplined. Let me just force myself to wake up at 5 in the morning. Let me just force myself to go to the gym every day, even though I hate the gym. Let me force myself to post on social media, even though I don't like it. Let me force myself to write these articles, even though I don't even like writing. Let me force myself to record a podcast, even though I don't even really want to have a podcast. Let me force myself to do X, even though I don't enjoy X. I'm not even really interested in X, but I'm going to force myself to do it because I read somewhere, I heard somewhere, or I see somebody else doing it and they're successful, so I might as well do what they're doing. Wrong. Do not do this. Do not force yourself to do things that you're not actually interested in and that you don't really care about. This is a failing strategy because it will work temporarily when you force yourself. Problem is, forcing yourself to do stuff requires willpower, and willpower is kind of like using a battery on your phone but not carrying around a charger. You ever go somewhere for a full day excursion with no charger? You go to the zoo or some amusement park or some theme park. You go to Disney World all day. You don't have a charger with you, but you keep using your phone. All right, eventually the phone battery is going to die, right? Then what happens? Now you can't use your phone anymore. It's the same thing with willpower. You can't use the willpower anymore. Guess what happens? Your discipline falls off. Your productivity falls off. Then you're emailing me or texting me and saying, well, I'm not being as productive as I wanted to be initially, Dre. Well, of course you aren't. All right, you're trying to force yourself to do something that you don't want to do. No wonder it's not working. Who's listening to this right now, who wants to force yourself to do something that you don't want to be doing? Who wants to do that? Nobody wants to do that. That's why you're forcing yourself. If you are forcing it, it's because you don't want to. Wouldn't it be easier if you did something that you actually wanted to do? Would that help? Here's one simple key to productivity. Be productive at something that you actually like. Be productive at something that you actually want to do. Most of the time, when someone tells me they're having trouble with productivity, it's when they're trying to produce something that they don't even want to produce. Why are you doing this? This is an incorrect formula. So you're starting from the wrong point, and that's why it's not working. So what you need to do here is ask yourself a better set of questions. You're asking the wrong questions, which are leading to unproductive answers. Maybe you think you are getting some answers that are usually just making you feel bad about yourself, right? Because you're like, damn, I'm not doing shit. I'm not going to the gym. I'm not working out like I used to. I'm not taking care of my body. I'm not taking care of my money. I'm not taking care of my business. I'm not doing all this stuff I told myself I was going to do 3 months ago. And all it does when you ask yourself poor questions is set you up to feel like shit because of the answers that you're giving yourself. And the answers are based on poor questions. But when you ask yourself better questions, you get better answers, and then you get better results. You take different actions, you get better results. Now, let me give you a disclaimer to all of this. Usually, if you're over the age of 21 and you try to do this on your own, you're probably going to feel even more frustrated because you will fail to come up with better questions. You're not going to come up with much better questions just out of thin air. They're not going to just smack you in the head. What you need to do then is get with people who can help you by handing you some better questions to ask yourself. And then you take those questions, and that's when you get the insights. I talked about insight in episode 1177. But I'll tell you later on in this episode how you can get that help directly from me. One way I'll tell you up front is you can get my books. My books will help provide you with some better questions. But many of you, I know this for a fact, many of you want to go a little bit further than just reading a book. And that's where I'll tell you about some other stuff later on in this episode. But the first point, that you're sucking at productivity or you're not as productive as you want to be, is because you're trying to force it. Stop trying to force it and you won't have that productivity problem anymore, will you? But we're not done. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is why your productivity sucks. You are working off of incorrect formulas. In other words, you are doing the wrong order of operations. Your formulas are not accurate. Therefore, no matter what numbers you plug into the formula, you end up with the wrong answer. That's what happens when you had an incorrect formula. I remember taking math classes in like high school and middle school, and we had to know these formulas, like what was the name of that formula? Not the scientific formula, but like the quadratic formula. That's one I still don't remember. There was another one. It was another formula that we had to know. What the hell was it called? I forget the name of the formula. See, there you go right there. I don't even remember the name of the formula. But there was a couple formulas that we had to know in order to pass these math tests. And then we get the math tests, and you know how the teacher would say you have to show your work. You can't just get the right answer, because that way we couldn't cheat off somebody else's test. You can't just get the right answer. You have to show how you came about the answer. You had to follow a specific formula. And if you didn't follow the specific formula, then you got the question wrong. So I remember it was a quadratic formula. The name of the other formula may come to me in a minute. It might not come to me until after I'm done recording this. But the whole point is, when you use the wrong formula, if you have the formula incorrect, it doesn't matter what you plug in, you're going to get the wrong answer. You are sucking at productivity, according to yourself, because you're doing stuff that doesn't work, but you keep trying to do more of it. This is an incorrect formula. Now, I know for a fact, I know some very high functioning people. There are people who are in my mastermind programs. There are people who I know who will read my books. There are people I've had direct conversations with who are trying to do things that do not work, yet they keep trying to do them. And then those things keep not working. And these people drive themselves further and further into frustration because you are trying something that you already know doesn't work, yet you keep doing it. It's like you're banging your head up against the wall. You know it hurts, but you just keep banging your head up against the wall. It hurts when I bang my head up against the wall. Well, how about we just stop banging our heads into the wall, and maybe that'll ease some of your pain. See, wanting to be productive is one thing. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be productive. However, you define productivity. But how you go about that productivity is a whole other thing. The desire to do it is great. Napoleon Hill said the starting point of achievement is a burning desire. Yes, it is. I agree with Napoleon Hill. But how do you go about fulfilling that desire? Now that requires strategy. See, you just need a target to have a desire. But in order to hit the target, you need strategy. See, I could walk onto a shooting range and see the target that's 50 yards away and say, all right, all I got to do is shoot a gun and the bullet needs to go through that little red dot in the middle, and I have succeeded at hitting the target. The challenge is the strategy of, do I actually know how to operate the gun and aim it right and actually hit the target? That's a whole different ball game than my desire to hit the target, actually doing it, the strategy. Do you have the strategy in place? This is where, again, you get shortcuts through other people who can help you out. Those of you who want to achieve a certain aim, but you feel like you're just going to go about it on your own, and you're going to do it on the cheap, or you could do absolutely nothing, or you're going to do it through watching random YouTube videos and hope that you figure things out eventually. All right, good luck. But how has that worked out for you up to this point? Because don't take my word for it. Ask yourself that question. How you go about achieving productivity is completely different from wanting productivity. So let's say you want to do something like, it's early in the year still, you want to work out more. You want to hit the gym more often than you did last year. What's the process that you will follow for actually doing that? Now, we know you want to do it. Now, what's the process? Is your process duplicatable? Is it something that you can do every single time? Can you do it every single day? The same things, the same way, every time. Like I talked about in an episode, I think that was 2013. Same things the same way every time. Can you follow your process over and over again every single time? Is it duplicatable? Or is your process so cumbersome and has too many moving parts, and or is simply not enjoyable enough for you to stick to it? Now, this does matter. Some of you might think, well, I don't, and people usually say this when they have the desire, when you're thinking about that burning desire to do something, you're like, well, the process doesn't need to be enjoyable. I'm just going to force myself to do it. I'm going to make myself do this thing. That's willpower. Problem with willpower is it eventually runs out. All right, you can't go through your entire life just forcing yourself to do shit that you don't like doing, because eventually, one day when you don't feel like doing it, you're not going to do it. And it feels so good to not do something that you don't like doing that you know what you're going to do the next day, not do it again. And before you know it, you're back at square one with the same problem that you had before. Not because there's anything wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your productivity. There's nothing wrong with your willpower. The problem is you were trying to use willpower. That is an incorrect formula to get yourself to be productive, is forcing yourself to do it. That is an incorrect formula. Stop doing this. I wrote a whole book to help you stop trying to use willpower to achieve your outcomes. It's called The Third Day. All right? Have any of you heard of it? Go to thirddaybook.com. I'll give you the book free. Discover the shipment. What is your process for being productive? If it is cumbersome, if it is not duplicatable, if it has too many moving parts, and or it is something that you simply do not enjoy doing, you probably are not going to keep doing it. Now, yes, in episode 1663, I told you that you have to eat a shit sandwich no matter what you do in life. There's a shit sandwich that comes with everything. But understand, the whole thing that you do can't be a shit sandwich. Notice what I said. There's a shit sandwich that comes with everything. It's kind of like when you go to McDonald's, you order an extra value meal. You get a Big Mac, you get a drink, and you get fries. So you get all three. I didn't say you get a shit Mac, a shit drink, and some shit fries to eat. The whole thing can't be shit. You're not going to enjoy that. You're probably not going to order it. But if just the side order is a shit sandwich, then maybe you'll still enjoy the Big Mac, the fries, and the soda, and then you got to eat the shit sandwich to go with it. That part you might do. The whole thing can't be shit, though. You understand what I'm saying? So notice the wording here. Again, I try to be precise with my words here. Everything you do in life comes with a shit sandwich. What is your favorite flavor of shit sandwich? Again, it comes with it. It accompanies the process. So while I enjoy working out. I enjoy doing cardio, running outside. I enjoy doing boxing workouts. I enjoy lifting weights. The shit sandwich that comes with that is the recovery periods, that my shoulders might be very sore on the days I do a boxing workout, or I got to ice my legs and do foam rolling and stretching and all this other stuff anytime that I do cardio. There's a lot of water and electrolytes that I got to take in when it's humid 9 months out of the year down here in South Florida. If I'm going to do cardio outside or any kind of workout outdoors, that's a shit sandwich that comes with it. But I enjoy the thing that the shit sandwich is accompanying. Do you understand? The whole situation can't be a shit sandwich. I'm not doing it. The whole situation is shit sandwich. I ain't doing it. You understand what I'm saying? So any of you who feels like this is what you need to do, you need to force yourself to do something that you really don't like, and you're just going to keep forcing yourself because you're just going to make yourself do it. You've been watching too many of these meathead guys videos. I don't know. These military guys, ex-military guys who just tell you to just force themselves to do it, and they're gritting their teeth and they just tell you need to do the exact same thing. I do not agree with this process. Just to be clear, that does not work. It works for them because something in their wiring, they actually enjoy some of that. I don't know which parts they enjoy. Some of that they enjoy. Now they may not be able to articulate it in such a way that they can explain that to you, but I'm explaining it to you. So now there's no confusion. All right. You can't hate the entire thing of everything that you're doing and then just keep doing it forever. That ain't gonna work. Just in case any of you thought that was the process that you need to follow. Actually, some of you are doing that right now. I know. Some of you are doing that right now. I'm giving you a free pass to stop doing that. Okay? Get in touch with me and let me help you out with something that actually works. Because what you're doing, I guarantee you either is already not working or is about to stop working. It's not that you can't do the thing that comes with the shit sandwich, but you got to set yourself up for success. And hating what you're doing is not a setup for success, just in case you didn't know. There is no Jedi mind trick to that. Okay? Strategize about your formulas. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is why your productivity is in the toilet, why it sucks. Number 3, you are allowing for interruptions. Now, you're in your productivity. Let's say you have a system that you can repeat and it's in your wheelhouse. You actually enjoy at least some of it, but you're still inconsistent. Why is this? What might be the problem here? The problem is you are allowing yourself to be interrupted. I told you in episode 1193 that focus is a force multiplier. The longer you can stay focused on something, the stronger the focus becomes. Focus gets stronger the longer you can stay in it. Every time you break your focus, you have to start back at zero and ramp it up again. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to take as long, but you still have to go back to zero and start over. So it's like if you're writing and you're in the zone, you're doing your writing, and then you interrupted to check your Facebook feed. Now you go back to writing. Now you got to get back into that zone all over again. Again, you might get in the zone faster because you were already warmed up, but you still do have to start all over again. The law of inertia states an object in motion will remain in motion at a steady pace until or unless acted upon by an outside force. Often, you are the outside force that is breaking the inertia, the momentum, is also known as momentum. You are breaking the momentum of your own self and your own success by allowing for interruptions. This is why you need focus, which is the force multiplier. You see how all of these ideas connect? Every time you break focus, now you're putting yourself back at zero. You are sabotaging yourself. Uninterrupted focus time makes you better the longer you are able to maintain it. So the question is, what are you allowing to interrupt you? People, social media, notifications, your own wandering mind. I know I mentioned something that is a challenge for you right now. What are you allowing to interrupt your flow of focus? Point number 4. Today's topic, once again, is why your productivity sucks. Number 4, you have an unhelpful, often a destructive self-belief system. A belief system that is actually holding you back, and your belief system, your shit belief system, is actually causing all 3 of the issues that I've already addressed. The other 3 things that I addressed so far here today, forcing yourself to do things you don't want, utilizing incorrect formulas, and allowing for interruptions are all based on, often they are all based on this right here. You have an unhelpful belief system. You believe some things that are simply not true, or maybe you have decided that they are true, but they are sabotaging you. They are actually making your situation worse. And the longer you believe it, the worse the situation gets. This is why, if you listen to anything that I talk about, I don't care if I'm talking about a course, a book, a speech, if I have ever worked with you one-on-one, every time that I talk on this show, where do we always come back to? We always come back to the self, and we always come back to the mentality. Everything that you're doing and everything that you produce or don't produce is a result of the way that you are thinking. If your belief system is trash, your outputs will be trash eventually. When you change the belief system, the outputs will change. So what I mean when I say you have an unhelpful belief system, this can take several forms. One is a series of limiting beliefs about the things either that you are aiming to be productive at versus your true desire about that productivity. In other words, if you're telling yourself that you want to be productive at X, but you know inside that you really don't want to be productive at X, but you're telling everybody that you do, okay, now you have what you're saying and what you actually believe, they are in conflict with each other. So of course you're going to keep self-sabotaging. Of course you're going to keep stopping and starting. Of course you're going to take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. Why? Because the things that you are telling yourself verbally and what you subconsciously believe are in complete conflict with each other. This is an unhelpful belief system. Your beliefs and your actions are not aligned. All right, this is when you have problems. This is when you feel frustration. This is when you get stagnation because you start to move forward, but then you pull yourself backward. If you have thoughts in your mind about why achieving something might not be good for you, yet every day you're waking up and working on achieving that thing, of course it's going to take you 10 times longer than it should. You say you want to make this much money every year, but then when you start to make money, what do? You take your foot off the gas. And so let's say you want to make $100,000 a month. So in January, you made $200,000. And so now you might even blow past your goal. So in February, you do absolutely nothing. So now you're at exactly $200,000 for the year. In February, you did nothing. You made no money. Now in March, here's the challenge. Because, well, if you made $200,000, you could do it again, right? But here's the problem. In March, now you got to start back at zero because you killed your momentum by doing nothing in the month of February. So you see how you are self-sabotaging here? This is what people do all the time. I'm just using that as a rough, raw example, but people do this all the time. You say you want to achieve a thing. You are actually taking steps to achieve the thing, but subconsciously you have some negative ideas about what will happen and what it says about you if and when you do achieve that thing. Therefore, you are slowing yourself down, stopping yourself, taking your foot off the gas when you shouldn't, making mistakes that you don't even need to be making, self-sabotaging from the very thing that you have written down as a goal and put on your vision board because you have some unhelpful beliefs about what it says about you or what it's going to do to you when you reach it. This has nothing to do with your skill, your talent, your hard work, your persistence, or your actual productivity. Nothing. This is all about your belief system. You have some thoughts in your head about what somebody told you about working too much. You work too much. You shouldn't be working so much, even though working and doing your thing is what you actually enjoy to do. I told you not too long ago on this show why I don't have any hobbies. I told you episode 2091. Not too many people tell me that I work too much, and maybe some people who think it. Not too many people say it to me because they know I'm not really receptive to it, which is exactly the way it's supposed to be. But some of you have been told the exact same thing, and you are allowing that belief, you allowed that thought, somebody else's outside thought, to seep into your brain, get into your subconscious, and now it's stopping you from doing the thing that you actually enjoy doing, and it's keeping you from getting to your goals because you feel like you might be working too much. Maybe that person was right. Maybe you feel like you need to have a life outside of work. Maybe you do. Who knows? Maybe that's the thing stopping you from getting to your outcome. Maybe back in your youth, and this happens to a lot of people, a lot of adults don't realize this, but it happens to a lot of us. Maybe in your youth, you heard and were indoctrinated with some negative things about success or about money or about what kind of car you drive or the house you live in or how much money you make. And it says negative things about you if you have too much compared to other people, and you are self-sabotaging to keep yourself from reaching the level that your parents or the adults around you who had poor money mindsets indoctrinated in you about success. Now you don't want to reach that because of what they told you 30 years ago, and you're stopping yourself from getting to your own success. This is a poor belief system. It has nothing to do with your skill level, your hard work, your commitment, your worthiness, none of that. But these beliefs are actually getting in the way of all of those other things, and you might not even realize it. That's the challenge with all of this. It's not that it exists, it's that you don't even know that it exists. You don't know where it came from, and you have no idea what to do about it. Those are the actual problems. How many of you has found yourself self-sabotaging because you just don't want to do too well compared to your peers, compared to your family members, compared to the people you grew up with, compared to the people in your neighborhood? You don't want to outshine them too much, so you're holding yourself back and not doing the things that you could do to take yourself as far as you want to go. This has nothing really to do with those people, honestly. It has a lot to do with your belief system and also a lot to do with your associations. With whom are you associated? Because I can show you how to associate with some people who are doing 10 times more than you, so you would actually feel small compared to them right now, as opposed to feeling too big compared to maybe the losers that you're hanging around. Hey, let's call it what it is. In case any of you are new around here, this is what we do. All that being said, I'll tell you how you can get direct help with me on these things in a minute. But first, let's recap today's class, which is why your productivity sucks. Number one, you are forcing yourself to do things that you are not interested in doing and you don't want to do. All right, productivity is similar to discipline in this sense. If you are trying to force it and that is your only strategy, it may work temporarily. It will not work in the long term. Stop trying to force yourself to do stuff that you don't want to do. This does not work. Number two, incorrect formulas. You're doing stuff that does not work and you keep trying to do more of it. Wanting to be productive is one thing, but how you go about that productivity is another thing. Again, wanting to achieve an outcome is great. That is the starting point of all achievement, is a burning desire. But what is your strategy? Many people have a desire, but they have no strategy. So they're out there working hard like a chicken with his head cut off, but they're getting nowhere because they have no idea how they're going about it. It's not that you can't do the thing, but you need a process you can follow, as I told you in episode 2013, for actually doing the thing. Make the game easy for yourself. Number three, you allow for interruptions. Now you're in your productivity but you're still being inconsistent. What is the problem? Is that you're breaking focus. Every time you break focus, you have to start back at zero. The longer you can stay focused, because focus is a force multiplier, the stronger it gets. So you're allowing people, social media, notifications, your own mind to interrupt you. What is getting in your way of staying focused for an extended period of time? That can be in a micro, like in a day, a couple hours, or the macro, like in life, a few months. Number four, you have an unhelpful belief system. And when I say unhelpful, I'm being generous. It can take several forms. Limiting beliefs, thoughts of why achieving something might not be good for you. Somebody told you don't work too hard, don't make too much money. People who have this are bad people. These ideas that you may have had indoctrinated in you for 30 years, you don't even realize that they've been in your head, and they're the exact thing that is causing you to self-sabotage. All of this could be slowing you down from getting to your outcome. So with all that said, first of all, I want everyone who's listening to me, text me to get my daily motivation text at 305-384-6894. And some of you are ready to go to the next level with me. You read the books, you listen to this show, and you're going to keep doing that, but you're ready to go to the next level and work with me directly. Get into my mastermind programs. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's workonyourgameuniversity.com, where you can see my group programs and one-on-one programs, my courses, and we can take this to the next level, because I think some of you are ready for it, and I think I opened up some minds here today, so I'm looking forward to hearing from you. That's at workonyourgameuniversity.com, and work on your game. Dre all day.